Well, hello there, Bicycle, and hey everyone else, I'm back! How is everyone doing today? I hope you all had a good day. My day started off with school again. First time since 3, 4 months now. So it was a bit of a rough start this morning. Had to get up early. Started at 9. Which was, a bit too early to my liking, especially after that long. I'll get used to it again, but for now it was a bit rough. But I'm fine, and I don't have to go to school that much anymore, so whee! Just got internship to go this year. But that does mean we have supervision a couple of times throughout the next months, which means I have to be at school at 9. But it's my internship at 9, I don't mind. School at 9, that's a whole different story. You're doing good? You started at 8:30. That's even worse. Glad I'm not you. How have you been doing, Bicycle? Seriously, haven't seen you in a while. To be fair, I haven't been actively streaming for the past couple of months either. Just couldn't be bothered when I was at school. Internship was taking off a lot of my energy. And after that, the vacations, just spent a lot of time doing other stuff. But I promise I'm gonna try to be more consistent again now on Tuesdays and Thursdays with the streaming. And for today, I've got Sable. Let's see. Here we go. I tried a little bit last week, but mouse and keyboard just didn't agree with me on this game. There is a hover bike in it that you have to ride around on. And the whole idea, when I first saw this game, it looked so good. Looked like it was going really smooth and everything. And I was like, oh my god, I need to play this game. Then I actually started it last week and I was like, what the fuck is this? Mouse and keyboard, hover bike. No, didn't agree with me at all and frustrated me to no end. So I decided this weekend to give it a try. Well, no, yesterday to give it a try with my trusty crappy controller here. And it actually went so much smoother. So I'm just going to restart completely over. Not continue from where we were last week because didn't really get that far. So, no need to do that. We'll just do that all again. But with actual good controls. You passed all your tests, so you're in your second year now. That's awesome to hear. Proud of you. What were you studying again? I kind of forgot. Sorry. Too much other shit in my head. Yes, we want to start a new game. Let me know if audio and everything is fine. Civil engineering. Yeah, that's not something for me. I know we need people that do that. It's just, if I remember correctly, that involves a lot of maths and stuff, and that's definitely not something I'm good at. So, Sable. It's made by a studio called Shedworks. Raw Fury is the publisher, and yeah, nothing for me then, because I'm no good at maths. It's always been my worst subject. Well, no, that's not entirely true. It was fine until like second year of high school, and then they started adding way too much letters and weird symbols to it. That's where it lost me. So, Sable, I love this art style. Like I said last week, for those that would have been here last week as well, it reminds me in a lot of ways of the old Tintin comics, if anybody knows those. or remembers those. Bicycle might, because if I remember correctly, bicycle is Belgian as well. It's chemistry and physics during the 2 first years. Physics was fine because there was stuff that interested me. Chemistry never really interested me that much. Biology was more my thing. Tintin. Tintin in French. Kuifje in Dutch. One of the most famous Belgian ones. Biomedical and engineering. Yeah, no, I'm currently studying to take care of people, as in people with disabilities or dementia. My internship this year is going to be with people with dementia. Like, be there for them in their everyday life, help them out with whatever they need help with, basically. And sending them in the right direction. Like, if they need psychologists, for instance, you send them to people that can help them with that kind of stuff. Which one? The Hergé Museum, which is somewhere in Wallonia, or the one in Brussels? Although the Brussels one might not be... Well, that's more comics. Yeah, I know him. Yeah, so the one that I was thinking of. That's the Hergé house, right? Still want to go there some point. I didn't live too far from there, to be fair, when I was still living middle of Belgium. Before I left to go live in near the Dutch border. I lived close to the Belgian-Dutch border right now. No longer live near Brussels, or in Brussels actually, because I've lived in Brussels too for a while. But yeah, Louvain-la-Neuve, I think I've been there once for shopping. A long time ago. I know the train I used to take to go to Brussels always came from there, and then... Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the train I used to take to go to Brussels came from, well, passed through Louvain-la-Neuve, then where I got on, and then took Brussels. Which is also why I know the name. I can feel JD smiling behind her mask, just as I know she can feel the teeth-baring little grimace behind mine. Eesh, can't English anymore. I'm nervous, and she's softly, sweetly amused. In her eyes, I probably have very little to worry about. You know you have nothing to worry about, don't you, Sable? I know. I tell Jaddy that I know, but it isn't quite sunk in yet. I promise you, Sable, you're fine. But I do know how you are. You're going to be nervous until you've started, and then you'll act like you've been doing it your whole life. Remember the first time you rode a bike? You wouldn't even let me put you on the seat. You were so afraid. Your hands were like little claws gripping onto me. I feel the memory in my fingers. But then I promised you it was going to be all right. I told you how much I had loved riding my bike as a young woman, and how wonderful the wind felt through fabric. Suddenly, there you were. You sat down, you leaned forward and put those little grasping claws on the handles, and you were off. And I remember thinking, just watching you tear over the sand, look at her, she can do whatever she wants. Chatty reaches out and places a hand on the edge of my mask. Think you can, Sable. I take a breath. I think I'm ready. I thank Jaddy for the encouragement and tell her with a nod that I think I'm ready. I know you are, so let's get you started. You'll need to talk to Hilal and Driss. Driss should already have made the arrangements for your bike, and Hilal will share something, well, let's say as useful as it is fun. I think I might suspect what Jadi is saying, but I stay quiet. After that, I suppose we'll see you off. I'll be back soon. Sable, don't go planning your return before you've even left. Take all the time you need. It's a big decision you're making out there. I tell her that's why I'm so eager to make it, to choose well and quickly so that I don't go too far down the wrong path. Whatever you decide, you do so with my blessing, so don't try using me as an excuse to come home early, eh? She knows me. Now, go speak with Hilal, I'll be there to see you off. And speak to Driss as well. I've told him to arrange your bike with Sizzo, but you know how he is. I have something to give you, a compass to help you on your journey. It's the same one I used on my gliding. An artifact, you might say. I take the device in my palm. It fits naturally there. Perfectly weighted and crafted, each component slides together with incredible, satisfying precision. Thank you. The art style of the game, it's not the first time I see something like that, but I wouldn't say it's that close to Tintin. It makes me think of Manifold Garden. I haven't played Manifold Garden yet. I do believe I either have it on my wishlist or in my Steam library. And the reason I compare it to Tintin is some of the very old ones, some of the earlier ones, there is some stuff in there that reminded me, that this game reminds me of. I know, like, the later ones definitely are a different art style. But it's some of the early work, for some reason, it really it still sticks in my mind, and I'm pretty sure it was Tintin. Tintin in French. But, like, yeah, Manifold Garden, I think I have that on Steam, but I'm not 100% sure. And if it's not, it's probably in my wishlist. That is way, way, way too long by now. Left button, compass. So we just got a compass which tells us where to go. And we need to complete tasks for Hilal and Driss. Yeah, it's possible too. Like I said, I'm not sure. I know it's something Tintin related. Tintin, Tintin, however you want to call him. Kuifje, let's just be Dutch about it. If it's the cartoon or the comics, I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, it's definitely one of those. Oh. As I approach Hilal, they give an enthusiastic wave. Hi. I've always appreciated Hilal's verve and vigor, and on a day like this, I'm ready to match it, with a touch of nerves for balance. Sable, take this! Hilal hands me a small round stone. As it nestles into my palm, I feel a warmth not borrowed from Hilal's hands, but emanating from within. I run my thumb over it and find it softly electric, like static on cloth. What's this? Yeah, Tintin is the way they say it in English, and seeing I do most of my stream in English, I do try to make sure other people can understand it as well. But it sounds so weird, and to be fair, the French name, so Tintin, even though I know it's like the original name, it sounds so weird in my head as well, because I've always known it as Kuifje, so the Dutch name for it, because that's what I grew up with, until I started actually learning that, hey, it's actually not a Dutch or Flemish comic, it's actually French. And started learning about it a bit more. Yeah, whereas Kuifje, for some reason, doesn't sound weird to me at all, even though I know Dutch sounds weird to everybody but the Dutch. And even there, I'm not a big fan of Dutch, to be fair. I know it's my mother language, and I speak it whenever I have to, but I'm just as happy speaking in English, or if I can remember it, again, Spanish. And my French is pretty decent too, so I can switch where needed. And I try to sound less confused than I am, but ask Hilal what this is. Oh, Sable, you can't leave without it. What I've just given you is a gliding stone. What do you feel? I tell Hilal that I feel fuzziness. I like fuzzy stuff. Then you're doing it right. What you feel in that stone is openness. I look at the stone. It seems quite closed. Gliding stones are vessels for the perpetual. They suck up its power like little sponges and hold it there for you to channel. Right now it's empty or dormant and waiting for you to fill it up. I ask how I can do this. Take it to the temple ruins at the edge of the canyon. You'll be able to activate it there. Hilal claps their hands twice and bobs a little. I appreciate their good mood at a time like this. Come back to me once that's done. I want to hear all about it. As I'm about to leave, Hilal stops me. Oh, you haven't gotten your bike yet, have you? It's a bit of a trek to the temple, so go see Driss. He was meant to get that ready for you, yes? I remember Jadi's words now and tell Hilal I'll go and see Driss. You don't really like French that much either. To be fair, I never really was a fan of French until then I really had to start speaking it for work. Hello, Sybil. Unread messages 0. Have a good day. Okay, so that's a mailbox. I learned Spanish when I lived in Bolivia for a whole year, and I really loved it. And then I came back, and when I actually started working, I had this issue where my French and Spanish got mixed up in my head. So at first my French came out as Spanish, and nowadays I struggle a bit with my Spanish because I've spoken so much French. For about 9 years, I had to speak French most of the time at work in Brussels. So my Spanish got pushed back a bit. And I do believe if I ever go back to South America or go back to Spain, it will come back fast enough, but because I can still understand it. It's just speaking it that I really have to think, okay, is this a French or a Spanish word? Because there's way too much words that are similar or sound similar but might mean something else. You'd like to learn German because it's... You think German sounds good. Okay, I always think German sounds way too harsh, but to each their own. Though I've told myself not to be too eager, it's all I can do not to race up to Driss. Driss is the camp manager. He's been difficult to get a hold of lately, but now I strongly suspect that he's been working on my bike in secret. Perhaps it's extra beautiful, or has some custom feature. What will its name be, I wonder? How fast will it go? Will my legs feel sore, or will I get used to it? Driss turns with a bit of a start. Sable? Hello? Hey! How are you today? I asked Driss how he is. I'm well. I let it hang there a moment. And I can't do it. I'm too keen, and the words spill out. I asked Driss if he might, sort of, possibly, maybe have a bike for me. Your bike? He yells it like it's an idea he just had. Your bike? Yes, of course. Right. Yes, your bike. That I prepared for you because today is your, gliding, yes? Driss nods along with me. Yes, of course, right. Yes. I do have that. My blood runs cold. Has he forgotten? By which I mean I arranged it for you in a, well, it's sort of a tutorial for you. Did you forget? I'm telling you, I didn't forget. I just made different arrangements. You see, Sable, before one can own their own bike, they must prove that they can ride a bike by taking a test ride on a different bike. I think about it and find I've never heard of that part of the gliding, but Driss does seem earnest, sort of. So instead of worrying about your bike, I'd like you to try this bike as a test. Driss gestures to the scent cutter at his side. It's quite old and a little shabby. A tester, if ever I've seen one. Okay, I'll give it a go. Really? Yes, good. Be gentle though. This sandcutter is older than Jadi. You treat her with respect. Now, ride the bike through the ring and back. And here's some advice for you, my young glider. Don't fall off. Don't lose your bike. When you're not riding it, your hover bike will appear as a blue icon on your compass. Right. I can understand the confusion between Romance language, a bit like the way some would mix up Germanic language. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I understand. If Germans speak calmly, I understand quite a bit of it because it's very similar to Dutch. And when we were in Denmark, my boyfriend and me, in June, there were actually, we noticed there's quite a bit of overlap with German, with Danish and Dutch as well. That we were kind of surprised about. Okay. We almost maybe kind of crashed there. We did our test ride. I returned to Driss, who somehow manages to seem caught off guard, despite knowing I was coming. Sable, congratulations! How was your first pre-glide ride? Any strange rattles, unexplained hissing, small fires? What do you mean, fires? Surely you'd notice if you were on fire, even a little bit? Was that a possibility? Well, obviously it didn't happen, so I think we're fine. Triss, is this bike dangerous? Well, he doesn't finish. Have you already been by Hilo? Oh, right. I'd nearly forgotten about Hilo, and thanks Driss for the reminder before at least nudging him a little about the bike. I asked him if I'll still be getting one. Well, you're getting the use of this sandcutter. That's something, eh? You can borrow it to run your little errands. My little errands? And Halal's got something to show you too. Help you out with more of that mobility you're after. With my confidence in this exercise only lightly tarnished, I thank Driss very much for his help and his bike, and I depart for Hilo. To be fair, we're going to do this before going back to Hilo. We're going to be activating that stone, because that's what we needed to do for him. So, let's take this. This thing is so wonky. Wait, why is it not tracking this one? As I thought, we're on the wrong spot. This is one heck of a bumpy ride. I do hope we get a better glider later on, because this thing is wait, crabby? That's where the temple is. And also the fact that Driss told us this thing can catch fire, I'm not sure if I trust it. I'd rather not have the thing I'm riding catch fire all of a sudden. You know, it's a thing. Rather not experience myself catching on fire and stuff while riding around. Mm. Oh, I know. Don't know what you are, but you look very funny. I mean, technically anything could catch fire. Yeah! Can we not? We're not getting back up there. Possibly. Although with all the smoke and stuff that was coming out of the back, I'm not sure if that means it's an electric engine. Feels more like a combustion engine. Ew, colors just puffled. I'm doing nothing. The stone thrums like the beat of a heart as I approach the altar. Am I afraid? Yes and no. I'm ready for Rohana to know me. I'm ready to know myself. I'm guessing Rohana is their god. Very, very much malfunctioning then, yeah. Then probably shouldn't be writing it. I feel her curiosity in the sacred place. I know I am in her sight. Ooh, the stone is all glowy. Okay, bye stone. Oh, colors are back. Or there's finally light in the room. That's a theory that Fed had last week. That the absence of all colors meant it was dark. And now there's a light here, so we get our colors back. Which kind of makes sense. Okay, bye. And there's a new altar there now. That's... Oh, wait, no, that's us again. Wonky shit. Okay, so we now have some bubble thingy that allows us to glide. Bubbles. No. Don't climb up walls I don't tell you to climb up on. There we go. Is this how we are actually gonna get out? Oh, there's a chest there. Always good to grab chests in games, right? 20 of something. Okay. Probably currency in this game. Like coins stuff. Going up, up, up. Yay, we made it out. Past the weird ass statue again. I really have no clue what it's supposed to be. Indeed, always be looting. Loot is good. But I guess that means we're going back to Hilal. Can glide almost indefinitely, it would seem. Nice. Where's the camp? Over there. Let's go back to camp! Hey! Bonk. This thing really doesn't sound good. No engine should sound like that. It's just not healthy. Okay, let's go up. And give her a stone or talk to this dude. When I return to Hilal, it's clear they know what I've just experienced. They're excited on my behalf, in a way that makes me miss them before I even left. Isn't it incredible? How does it feel? Safe, like a warm hug, because I love hugs. I tell Hilal that I feel almost embraced by the perpetual, warm and safe, in my own little bubble. They swoon. Little free pieces just chilling in the engine. That's not a good thing, though. Oh, that's such a nice way of describing it. Hilal's mood doesn't darken, but the sigh they let out holds a bit of sorrow. You're very lucky, you know. I miss it so much, that feeling just floating on a breeze. But suppose it's best that it fades with age, huh? Or else I might never have come back from my gliding. I'd just be out there heaving myself into chasms. I wish we could all do it. Tell Hilal I wish it was something we could keep perpetually. So do I, Sable. So do I. I know people manage to keep it up, but I don't know that I've got the time to practice as much as they do. It takes a really serious focus. It all laughs, even if there's a bit of regret in it. And I certainly haven't got that. Still, I suppose the gliding wouldn't mean much if there were all gains and no loss, huh? I think about that, but decide that there's already too much loss on my mind to consider it much further. Saying goodbye to my clan, my family, my home, my childhood. To lose the Perpetual is a sacrifice for another time. You're going to love it out there, Sable, even when you don't. My advice? Try to have fun. There's a lot to be said about ritual and independence and all of that out there, but the world's an easier place if you put joy first. I thank you all for their advice and for their help, and tell them I'll miss them. It will be over before you know it. A warning and a reassurance all in one. I say goodbye to Hilal. Before I go, Hilal gestures toward the tower. It seems Sizzle wishes to see me before I leave the clan. Alright. Okay. So we're going up the tower. Yeah. Really? You're just gonna fall off like that. Why do this? We need to go up there. Schizo. No, Sizzo. As a surprise for Sable. Can't you just climb over there? Nope. No schizo's here, I think. Controls are still a bit iffy for some things. Can I loot? Yay, I can loot 20 more of whatever the fuck that is. I'm guessing this is Sizzle? Yes. Yeah, a little bit, indeed. Zelda climbing style. But Zelda, I don't think, was the first one to use that type of stamina-based climbing, though. But yeah, a lot of people do know it from the Zelda games. Sizzle is an outclimber to the Ibeksi, but I've known her for nearly as long as I can recall. I think of her more as a kind of distant relation than any sort of outsider. Mechanists, I'm told, are given their posts and by their training and their code must go to where they are needed. But Sizzle has been among us so long that it's easy to forget it's an assignment first and foremost. As far as any of us are concerned, she's one of us. I think there's a perception among the other clans that the Ibeksi are quite insular, or that our designation of Ibeksi versus Outclanners suggests some nervous othering of those who are unlike us. But in practice, such things are more the result of our nomadic nature. We seek to know who will travel with us and who we must leave behind, but all are welcome to join. And I'm always pleased that Sizzle did. Sable, how do you do, clan child? I can only think of one thing. Excited for my bike? Sizzle has a throaty quality to her voice, and it rumbles through her mask when she laughs. She's quite a serious person most days, and I'm always torn between pride and alarm when I manage to make a chuckle. Yes, Chaddy told me how excited you were. Sizzle sniffs. She also told me Driss would be coming along to get your bike together, but I think he may have... I knew it! What? I hadn't meant to say that out loud, so I tell her I was just clearing my throat. I don't begrudge Driss's forgetfulness, were I tasked with so many odds and ends. I might be just as scattered, and besides, this will be good for you. I want you to scavenge the hoverbike parts yourself. I'm going to make my own hoverbike? I ask Sizzle if I'm expected to make my own hoverbike. No, you're not going to make your hoverbike, you are going to build your own hoverbike. What's the difference? To make suggests you are creating something, but your bike already exists. They simply haven't taken form yet. Here, take this. Sizzle hands me something. This is a navigator. You can use it to mark waypoints on your compass. It should be useful in finding the old parts. I ask Sizzle where I might start looking. Our bikes are reborn in the ruined ships, in fragments spread apart. A good start would be the ship down there near the camp. You'll find another one up on the great rock near the other side of the canyon, and another behind the old dam on the hill. Use your navigator to mark that down if you need. You'll need to gather a control panel, a power supply, and a calibrator. Do most gliders make their own bikes? I ask Sizzle if most gliders really make their own bikes. Only the lucky ones. I tell Sizzle I'll see her soon and head off in search of the components. Together, we will create something new out of the old. Engineering time, or rather after you find all the parts. Yes, I first have to find all the parts. So, okay, right button is the navigator. So somewhere over on that rock is one thing. Now we have the dam for another one. And that is for another part. Alright, so now if I do this, I have multiple markers on my compass. Nice. So let's do a fall damage test, shall we? Geronimo! I guess I have a bubble to save me. Oh, Jadi has something to say. Jadi greets me warmly. Hello, little glider. What was your gliding like? I asked Jadi about her gliding. Tell you what, I'll tell you when you get back. Seriously? What, the fall you mean? Where the bubble saved my ass? Yes, I know. I crossed my arms in protest. Pout all you want! I don't want to spoil any surprises. She lowers her voice to a whisper. But I did meet some crystal farmers once. Crystal farmers? And that's all I say about that. You should get going. Yeah, that was quite disappointing, like... And then there was a bubble to save my ass. I mean, I guess it's a good thing. It means I can't die from fall damage. Ah! Note to self, don't try to ride over rocks. It becomes a very bumpy ride. So... what kind of crystal? We don't know. The old lady doesn't want to tell us. Let's go inside the ship. There's nothing of use to be found in the ship. Well, this was a waste. But I noticed a blinking light flashing on the dashboard of the cockpit. Push the button or... Of course we're gonna push the button. I mean, what's that for a question? A voice crackles from the machinery in front of me. It sounds like a recording. It's barely audible. Stop messing about with those buttons, you absolute idiot! Sorry, Ramen. Concentrate! I don't think I have to remind you how much work it was to get this far. We're almost there. Alright, let's see if what that old mechanist told us holds up. If not, there'll be hell to pay. I hear the sound of mechanical adjustments being made. 3 clicks, buttons being pressed, maybe? Okay, when I push this orange thing, pull that lever, hard. Yes, Ramen. The sound of a click and a loud grunt before a snapping sound. Oh, on Rohana's mask, not that hard, you've torn it out! Suddenly the speakers are filled with static and a low rumble that gradually increases in pitch. And then the sounds of someone cheering. It worked! We're flying! More cheering. Is that the sound of someone dancing? Okay, let's focus. This thing is moving fast. We need to slow it down a bit. How do we do that, Ramen? Let me check the mechanist note. A long pause. The rumbling static sound that started playing when the ship took off is still increasing in pitch. Ramen? That lever, Toma, the one you just ripped out? We're going too fast. We're going to crash. We need to try to... The recording cuts off there. I'm guessing he broke the brakes. And that's how the ship crash landed here. Stupid idiots breaking brakes. You should never break brakes. That's not a good thing. Of course they broke the brakes. Oh, there's a kid. Hi, kiddo. Are you looking for a calibrator? I am immediately on guard. Saima has always been a mischief maker and taken tremendous pleasure in tormenting me. In theory, I'm older, more experienced, and should be more than able to withstand it. In practice, you won't find it here. I've hidden it. You'll never find it. Never, never. She never fails to get to me. Give it back, Saima. I order Saima to give it back. I'm gliding age, and she's a child. Nah, I don't think I will. Saima laughs off my irritation, but I'm not going to give her the satisfaction. I cross my arms and try to effect a change. I'll give you the calibrator. I put my hand out my hand, proud of myself for standing tall before Saima. If you give me some beetles. That's a fair trade, isn't it? Something you want for something I want. I try to decide if it's more mature to push her over and steal the calibrator or to acquiesce. But then I simply stifle a sigh and shake her little hand. Perhaps some of the adults in the camp know where I can find some. Always read the instruction manual before driving a high-tech spaceship. Yeah, it sounded like they didn't have one though. Just some notes from a machinist. So I guess we're gonna have to find beetles for this girl, so she gives us our calibrator. True. I could ask about catching beetles for that awful little Saima. Do you know where I can find beetles? There's a nest of beetles just east of here. You can't just walk up to one and catch it though. There's some seeds growing on the rocks around the nest. Drop a seed on the floor and the beetle will start eating it. Then you can sneak up and grab it. Driss asked me a series of increasingly strange questions before I make an excuse to take my leave. So this is about where I got to last stream. Before I started over. Read it before, not after. Yeah, but that requires actually, you know, not being super excited and just want to do it. And I think these guys were just so excited that they could try and get it to work that they decided, like, you know, we don't have to. Do research first. Okay. We can just go there and it will be fine. But yeah, it is indeed always smarter to first read things and... Although, to be fair, if, like, instruction manuals for things like IKEA stuff, I also don't go looking all the way through it before actually starting. I just go to page 1 and start. Ooh, what are you? A chum egg. It was giggling. Chum eggs, offered up by chums when planting themselves into the ground. Perfectly smooth and hard as a rock. These eggs seem to float with how light they are. There must be a good place to deliver them. Those aren't seeds. We need seeds. No, usually true. But still, technically there you should also check first if you got all your pieces and everything before actually, you know, starting to try it. Nope. So the beetles are somewhere in this direction. But we need seeds that grow around their nests somewhere. Hi, Burbs. And I mean, if you don't properly put together your IKEA shelves or stuff, things could break. I mean, if I look at what I've got on my IKEA shelves and things, I would want them to be, you know, properly constructed, else it could get quite costly. Got too many shit in there that actually cost me quite a bit. And I just love too much for it to break. Although, to be fair, I've had IKEA furniture for ages. And it never broke yet, so... There's the beetles. Now we need the seeds. Oh. Is that a seed? I can throw? I can. That's one beetle. And that's 3. Let's get some more. Don't know if that's useful, but... No clue if it's even useful to have this many beetles, but... This way, if that kid steals something again, I just know, okay, I can give her beetles and I'll have them and don't have to go grab more. So we got Saima her beetles, but we're close to the dam, so I think I'll just go there already as well to get the piece that's supposedly over there. And I do hope we're not gonna run into another kid that's like, hee hee, I stole it. That is a very good question. I don't know where we put all the beetles. They're in our inventory, but we don't seem to have a bag or anything. Ooh, there's fishing in this game. What the freaking do? We were tracking that one. So the fishing in the desert. Yeah, that is indeed kind of weird, but who knows? We might not always be in the desert. I know we start there, and this is a dam, so dams usually are built to hold water back. And these things do look like boats, so I think there used to be water here at some point. This is definitely shipwreck. And I hear water. There's something that could be ways at least. What did you? Don't know if this is a smart plan, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Well, it would have been a very stupid plan if there was actually water behind that dam. Can we... Yep, we can. I guess the water kind of dried up. That was a bit too obvious game that had to go there. Could have made that a bit more... could have put a little bit more effort in there. Thing is, though, there were no atomic control panel. There were noises that could be thought of as being the sound of waves, so it's kind of disappointing that there is nothing after all. But hey, we got a control panel for our bike. So that's at least something. There's not a boat there. Multiple even. Do we have some kind of map or something? Not much to be seen on the map. No clue if we can get out this way, by the way. Watch me just walk into a dead end. That's an upside down boat. Ooh, stars. Ooh. Yeah, this is a dead end. For an upside down sea. Yeah, something like that. Look at that sky though. The stars look like there are holes in the sky. Interesting. Huh. Okay, let's go back to our bike, sand cutter thing, whatever it's called. Maybe it's a big dome? Maybe? Yeah, I don't know if it's visible on stream properly, but it does look like there's like little pieces of blue that they took out of a piece of paper and that they stuck that... Yeah, exactly. It looks like somebody poked holes in it. But I really do like the look of this game. And the soundtrack, the soundscaping is really well done as well. Both soundtrack and just the general sounds of the wind and everything. I left my bike somewhere around here. Right in front of me. Good. There it is. At least there's no light pollution, so you can actually see the star. True. To be fair, when I go outside onto my balcony, I can actually see quite a lot of stars. Because I'm like on the outskirts of the city that I live in. And the building I live in, even though I am on the top floor, it does block most of the light from the city as well. It's so amazing to just be able to stand on my balcony and stare at the stars. Like the other week when I did that, I could see the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper and some other star constellations that I know. I was like, yeah, this is really cool. Really happy about seeing that. Because I've lived in big cities like Brussels for a long time. Or like in the center of town or whatever. So I never really got the chance to do that much. And when I was younger, I just didn't really get to go outside that late to actually go stare at them. I mean, can't blame my parents, you know. If you're a kid, you're not supposed to be up out and about too late. I think the next piece is going to be somewhere over there. Ow! I should maybe have looked where I was going. Nobody saw that, right? Nothing happened. This looks like some kind of an entrance. But yeah, big cities, they really should just turn off all the lights at night so people can actually enjoy the stars. The other day I went out with some friends in the city here for a drink, some friends from school. And when I walk back home, I actually cross a canal. It was just so gorgeous to see the canal lit up by the lights on the dock. Because there's a little harbor with like fancy boats. Just a few, not many. And then there's some restaurants across the border as well. But on the side where I live and where I walked, it's like a little road with trees around it, and it's a bit darker. It was just so gorgeous to be walking there. And to just walk home that way. Yeah, I kind of felt blessed that I got the chance to do that. Because I know not everybody does. And I also know that some people would have called me crazy for actually walking outside that late. But that's a whole different story. So you can see them too sometimes. Yeah, it's nice. Best view though still that I've ever had of the stars was in Normandy when we went there with school. I actually got to sit on a little stone wall like this high on top of the dike with high tide, but like really high tide, the spring flood. No, not spring flood. I forgot the name specifically, but where the tide comes in further than it normally does. And the moon was quite low above the water and a bit yellowish, even towards the red because of, sadly, pollution in the sky. But the view was just so gorgeous to be sitting there on that little wall, looking at the stars, looking at the water, the waves crashing on like the wall beneath my feet, like all the way down. I'll never forget that evening, I think, because I'm one of those people that really likes that kind of views. I love the moon and the water and nighttime. I have no clue where I'm going. I'm just trying to find a way up, because they said that the piece that I needed was somewhere up on these big rocks. And this seems to be the way up. Stars are still here. There's some red glowy shit on the other rock. Does seem like there's some crashed ship on there. More of a dawn person, but you also like to walk. The dawn is pretty as well. Dawn, sunset, and the night. I mean, I like daytime, but I'm not a big fan of the sun because it's either too warm or too cold. Over here, it's never like the perfect temperature that I'm like, yes, now I can sit outside in a t-shirt or a nice summer dress. That's just not a thing over here. That platform is screaming, I have a chest on me. So I'm gonna check it out. Ha! My instincts were correct. Today was temperature-wise okay, but we've had a lot of rain here. When I went to school, it was dry, so I was like, oh, I could park my car a little bit further away from school and then just walk the last part, and that way my car was close to the store that I had to go to after class. And then when class was over, I walked outside. It was raining, like this hard drizzle. And I was just standing there like, fuck, and I have to walk all the way back to my car. Luckily, it didn't start really, really raining until I got home and was safely inside. Because my laptop backpack, unfortunately, is not the best one when it comes to rain. It's very sturdy and protects my laptop really well against, you know, bumps and stuff. But rain, the zipper is not... It's not a good zipper. It's not a zipper that is covered, so the rain can go in through the zipper, unfortunately. Okay, so... Oh, there's something I can grab here. The power supply. Yay, we got the second piece of our hover bike. Thank you, odd thing. Can I climb you? I can, although it feels like I should not be able to. Like I said, it feels like I shouldn't be able... Okay. Seriously, fall damage is really not a thing here, is it? Even though she went like, ah, flailing down. Alright. Let's go. That's the one that we've done. Let's do this one. Over there. Hey Ahaz, how are you? How have you been? How was work? Oh, that's always fun. Thanks, Ahaz. You streaming yourself? Or just gonna be lazy today? I'm alright. Didn't like waking up early this morning. Because, you know, school started again, so I had to. Okay, where is this Saima person? They're somewhere here. Taking a rare day off again. Sleep's been really rough lately, so she's been feeling right. Yeah, it's never fun if sleep is eluding you. Know a couple of people that suffer from insomnia and everything, and it sounds like no fun whatsoever. Tomorrow I should be around. Don't have anything planned. Tomorrow's weekly reset on WoW, so lots and lots of things to do on WoW. New promotions, new event started this evening on World of Warcraft, by the way. So if you do log into the game, check your mailbox. You got a letter from Mizzen it's a promotion for Warcraft Rumble, which is supposed to come out later this year, which unfortunately for me is blocked over here because it has loot boxes. So if I want to try it out, I'm gonna have to be sneaky about it again, like I did with Immortal. I've played Diablo Immortal, even though it's technically not available here, but you can play on a guest account, so I don't risk my own account. Technically don't have to move to England. What I actually did was just create an App Store account that says that I'm from England with just some random English address from a site where you can get random English addresses from, and log into that one. And it allows me to download it anyways, and then I can switch back to my normal account and just play as long as I'm not going to be playing on like my official Battle.net account when doing that, because that could cost me my account, because it's technically evading safeguards that they put in place to avoid that they get sued because of the government here not liking loot boxes. And to be fair, I can't blame the government for it, because a lot of loot box systems are indeed very, very, very bad. I'm fine. It's a way that's even... The way I've done it is actually also... I found it on both Reddit and on the Blizzard forums. That's the way to go about getting to try those games anyways. It's hilarious. Blizzard forums even giving you those ideas. And moving to England, I don't know if that would be too horrible, to be fair. I love London. Not sure if I want to live there, but I do like the city. Yay, our atomic calibrator. I feel embarrassedly vindicated as I untie my the Beatles, but rather than gloat, she hands me the calibrator and begins to cry. What have I done? You're leaving and you'll never come back. Aw, poor kiddo. She blows her nose and then wipes her hand on her tunic. Yara never came back after the last gliding, aren't you sad? You were her friend. I miss her too. There's been a letter here and there, but it's always to us rather than to me. I'm not bitter, but I hope not to be like that. Please don't go. I tell Simon not to worry. That will be back sooner than she knows, and I'm sure she pouts behind the mask. And I add that if I'm not back sooner than she knows, then she'll be ready for her gliding by then, and she can come bother me herself. Promise? I say yes. Good, then I suppose I can come see you off. I thank her and say goodbye for now. But yeah, you should have mail from Vizen. And from what I saw online already about it, it's to collect little figurines around Azeroth of characters from Warcraft Rumble. Not sure how long that is gonna last and whatever. How long we're gonna be able to get at those things. Beep! And that's another Ego. Alright, so let's get back to Sizzo. Yeah, today I've only done the Dire Brew dungeon. And I've done the Heritage quest, Heritage armor quest for the gnomes. Because apparently I had that already started on my gnome when I was waiting for the Dire Brew. I don't know, it wouldn't surprise me if this event will last longer, because it's linked to Warcraft Rumble, which isn't coming out till the end of the year. I am curious though, because they keep teasing things about World of Warcraft and hey, the new stuff, what's coming up next. And it seems that BlizzCon will have quite a bit of news for World of Warcraft. So I'm even more stoked for it now than I already was. Because it almost sounds like they might be adding... Yeah, true. For WoW itself, it sounds like BlizzCon might actually be announcing new expansion. Because it's been a year since Dragonflight, and it's usually about 2 years between expansions. Not sure though. I return to Sizzle with the parts, and it says she waves me over that I feel a pang of sadness in my chest. When will I see her again once I'm gone? Well done, Sable. Yes, this is everything we need. Are you ready to assemble a bike of your own? I'm ready. You don't mind as long as Alexstrasza is there. Well, we don't know if she's going to survive this expansion. I don't even know, because 10.2 is going to be adding a lot more new stuff. But Alexstrasza has been around for ages. And I don't think any of us expected some of the other aspects to have died in recent expansions. So, well, there is a chance. I mean, I don't think so, because she is, after all, still the Queen of the Dragons and everything. But I did not expect them to do with Ysera what they did with her during Legion, so who knows? They've done some things in the past that I'm like, oof, the implications of this are quite big. I am, however, stoked to know that Chris Metzen is back on the Warcraft team as one of the producers, because he's done some amazing things for the game in the past. Wrath is going to be new dragon leader for the Expedition Plus Dragon? What do you mean? For the Black Dragons, you mean? Did you already finish the questline with Sibelian and Rathian? Has? Because something tells me you're missing some part of the story there. You really need to do the Black Dragonflight story further then, because I don't want to. Because I'm almost spoiling stuff here if I'm gonna say something about it, including the fact that Rathian is technically not the purest Black Dragon we have. Sibelian and Abyssian are. Rathian is partially a result of some experimentation of Neltharion. And as much as I love Rathian, as much as I don't like Sibelian, I don't think either of them should be leader of the Black Dragonflight ever. Yeah, his egg was not corrupted, true. Abyssian's was, I believe, but it got cleansed by the High Mountain Torrents. They helped him stay pure. Scissor relaxes in the workshop. It isn't that she's particularly rigid or anxious ordinarily, but there's a certain calm beauty that one only truly appreciates when Sizzle is in her element. I wonder if it's this way for all mechanists. You must understand, Sable, is that the components you required, they fit together. Not by chance, not by effort, but by nature. They belong to her. They have always belonged to her. All we are doing is assembling her from what she has already been. I nod and feel a soft buzzing in my ears. Among my clan, we believe that machines have names, held for ages like deep secrets, unheard by those unequipped to listen. We will find this one's name together. What Rathian mostly did was trying to purify the Black Dragonflight, and as he did not see any way of releasing the dragons from their corruption, he chose, together with his crew, the Black Talon, to actually murder almost every single black dragon that was still out there. The Ruby Dragonflight, their history is dark. Very, very dark. As they were subjects of the Orcs for a long time. Where Alexstrasza was forced to breed to get more eggs so they could train the Whelplings to become their mounts and to fight for them. Yeah, he wanted to clear the name of the Dragonflight, true. And like I said, the only way he saw that happening was if there was no more corrupted black dragons. Sabellion somehow found a way to make sure that those that he had, the eggs that he had, never got corrupted, and Abyssian, he was all on his own basically. Ruby Fly Dispatch. Did you ever do the quest with the 2 orcs at the Ruby Life Pools? Like the area where the eggs are? In the inn, there's a quest with 2 orcs. That quest line is gorgeous as well, and tells you a bit about the orcs and the red dragons and their relation that they used to have, especially one of those 2 orcs. No, that's the text we just had. Okay. Yes. So I guess we grab pieces. That goes there apparently. I just said all that text already. That was the same text as I read out like 2 seconds ago. Or you mean you haven't read the quests? Do you remember doing a quest for 2 dragons, 2 orcs at that were at the inn over there? Now what? No, not Valdraken. At the Ruby life pools where the eggs are, where Rathian and Sabellion also bring the black dragon eggs. There's an inn over there, and there was a quest line with 2 orcs there, which is really, really nice. Oh, she keeps saying this. Lady, I thought you were gonna say something else, but apparently not. So I've put those pieces all... okay. I need to go here. I'm a dumb. That looks very wonk. Now I get to talk to her. Is that how my glider is gonna look like? Listen. Sizzle tilts her head a moment, leaning closer to Simoon. Alright, anyways, gonna make some food before you start being bitched at for not eating like I usually do. Yeah, well, if I do figure out you're not eating, I'm gonna bitch at you too. So yes, go get food. Do the healthy thing. I'll be live for another hour and a half, more or less. All at once I know the hoverbike's name, Simoon. I say it in a whisper to let Sizzle know. Simoon, Simoon. Well done, Sable. What does it mean? You should ask yourself. Sizzle looks entirely serious. The bike, to my enduring surprise, says nothing, even when I lean close. I tell Simoon that I'm eager to know her better, and Sizzle looks quite proudly at the both of us. You're ready then, for the gliding. May all of the gods turn their faces from you, Sable. An odd blessing, perhaps, but Sizzle is prone to such things, and I can read in her tone that it was meant quite sweetly. You must learn to listen to Simoon, to care for her. Seek out my fellow mechanists on your travels, Sable. They will teach you the art of machine whispering. And I got a mechanist badge. Take this. It's a mechanist badge. You'll meet plenty of my ilk on your gliding. Show them your worth and they will give you more badges. I thank Sizzle twice for good measure and give a bow. I'm ready. This thing looks a bit wonk, but okay. We need to go talk to Yadi. Hey. Go up the ladder. And just a bit behind Hilal. I almost wanted to say Bilal because that's the name of somebody I used to work with. Really nice guy. Kind of miss the guys that I used to work with in Brussels. Sable, that cartographer landed his balloon while you were away. You should go speak to him. See if you can't get a map. I nod and begin to go, but Yadi gestures me back and puts something in my hand. Here's some money to get you going on your way. Use it mostly wisely, and then a little unwisely when the mood strikes. It's good to know the value of money, but you never want to be ruled by it. I thank Yadi effusively and head out on my way. What's that for a word? Okay, so... why does it say... come back and speak to me when you've bought that map? Okay. Where's the balloon she was talking about? I don't see a balloon. Oh, there's a balloon over there. How the frick am I supposed to get over there? Hello, person. Couldn't have made it easier to get to him? You know, landed somewhere else, anywhere but on this spot. Hiya, kiddo. The balloon was more fun than the person in it. Okay, you have a weird face. I approach the cartographer. Ah, greetings, child. I saw you looking longingly at my great balloon. Quite a piece of work, isn't she? She really is. I nod enthusiastically. It really is an impressive vessel. However nervous I get imagining being up there all alone. I wonder if anyone's ever fallen off of one. Best not to ask right now. Well, good to meet you, and I should introduce myself. I'm Jordan. I tell him I'm Sable. Suppose if you come all this way to see me, it's probably a map you're after, eh, Sable? I would love a map. I tell the cartographer I'd love a map. Seriously, what's with the weird words here? Of course you would. That will be 50 cuts. I'll buy that map. Perfect, let's trade then. So the coins here are called cuts. Cool. I thank Jordan for the Ewer map and all its vast possibilities. Something about this makes it feel more real. Good luck on your gliding, Sable. I still remember mine. I asked how it was. Short. I knew since I was a boy that cartography was for me, but I spent a little extra time out there just to enjoy the world. Speaking of, keep an eye on the skies, eh? Plenty of my colleagues out there. They have more maps to sell you from Hakoah to the Sodic Wastes. I thank Jordan for the tip and say goodbye. Farewell, child. You've unlocked a piece of the map. You can navigate the map screen in the pause menu. Once you've visited a place, you can fast travel to that location using the map screen. Your hover bike will also travel with you. Alright. So now I actually have a map and I can technically use it to fast travel back to the camp. But nice to get that map now when, you know, I've already been everywhere here. That's the dam, that's the temple. That's where we got our other piece of the ship. Guessing this is where we'll be going because that seems to be the way out. And everywhere else seems to be surrounded by walls. Alright. Let's go back to Yadi. What are you waving at me for? Zeki, as she looks out across the landscape, Zeki's shoulders sag a little. I wonder what she's thinking about. Something on your mind? Zeki's voice is weakly incredulous. I don't know how she's done it. That's Solaria over there. I follow her gaze to a little speck in the distance, which I now understand is her daughter Ilaria. You want me to get her back? Zeki shakes her head. Nah, she's fine. I'll get her. She shrugs. Parenting. I'll suppose I'll know more about that when I'm older. I guess I will. Not that I will, but, you know. Return to Jadi with a new lightness. And it makes the weight of my departure feel heavier still. What a strange day. Sable, is that a badge you've got there? Sizzle gave it to me. I tell Yadi that Sizzle gave me the badge. Then you must have earned it. Well then. I give a bow of thanks. Well, Sable, if you keep this up, you'll be headed for the Mask Caster in no time. I try to think about going to a Mask Caster, but it seems impossibly far away. Imagine choosing what I want to be. Imagine choosing what I want to be forever. I know what you're thinking, but don't worry about it. You'll get plenty of badges when you're out there, and once you've got 3 alike, you can trade it in for that mask. But don't feel like your first mask is your final choice. The gliding is about freedom and exploration. I suggest you claim as many masks as you wish. Only at your final ceremony will you be asked to choose one. How will I choose one? You'll have to feel it out. But when you know, you'll know. Now. The tone of her now puts butterflies back in my stomach. With all of this done, there's only one thing left. It's time then, isn't it? Time to walk through the face door at the Temple of Rohana. There, you'll assemble your gliding mask. And go. There are things I wish to convey to Jadi here. Depths of love and gratitude, and fear and worry and hope. And though I find myself unable to speak any of it in words, I know she understands. Before you leave, child, I made you these. They are dyed with the traditional Ibeksi maroon, and I hope provide you great comfort out in the desert. When you leave today, you will no longer be Sable, clan child of the Ibeksi. You will be Sable, and the rest will come. But no matter what you are, no matter where your journey takes you, I will always know you. I will always love you. And I will see you again. Aww. I don't know where my journey will end, but I know where it must begin. And I'm ready. You'll think you'll go now. Have a good night. You have a good night too, Bicycle, and thank you so much for hanging around. Very much appreciated, as always. And if all goes well, I'll be live again on Thursday with Astrea, and I'm gonna see if I can put some point redemption thingies in so you guys can mess with me in Astrea by making me pick the more difficult dice or the more difficult battles and that kind of stuff. Basically give you guys chances to mess with my runs. and completely fucked me over. Okay, let's see. I'm guessing can't get that one yet, so I guess we're first going to the temple. But before doing that, let's change our outfit. Already looks a bit better. It's this one, right? Yeah. How do I get in here? This way. Oh, this is where we started, isn't it? Yes, it is, because that's how we went up. This is where we started the game. In front of this. Oh! It actually opens now. Stuff is happening. Okay, some platforms were lifted and stuff. I have no clue where I'm supposed to go. No, I did not want to climb onto that one. Ba-doo-doo. The person with a bow up there. My platform is over there. There's a button on this platform. Okay. I saw another button over there. Okay, let's see. Ah! No. Wait, no. Else you're not going to be able to make it. Up, up, up. There's a platform glistening over there, and there's one over here as well. There's a person with a helmet over here, a person with a bow and arrow over there. And there's the weird butterfly dude over there. Really no clue what he's all about, because he's just wonky. Ooh. Are we actually putting a mask on this statue? It's odd. And then the last one, I guess. Nope. Up, up, up. It's above us. And it's a third platform. Oh no, the light went off in this statue. Well, that's not creepy at all. All those masks all of a sudden appearing on those statues. Ooh. Is that my mask? I do like that one. That looks like a pretty cool mask. This one got a mask even though it's broken. Ibexi mask. Return to camp. Yeah, but not before. There we go. Okay, that mask looks really cool. Now find our way out over there. And back to the camp. At which point I guess we're gonna be able to use our new glider hover bike thingy for the first time. Do wonder what kind of colors this mask is gonna have, because in here we don't see this. It's just a white mask. Still, it's pretty. And actually I could have seen that in the menu when I put it on. I'm such a dumb sometimes. Alright. Once let's go back to camp. It doesn't say where in the camp. That's kind of... Yep. Just walk into it and it starts a cutscene. Alright. Hi, mailbox. Why are we staring at a mailbox? Login. Hello, Sable. Jedi's voice echoes strangely through the machine, yet still it warms me. Well, Sable, this is it. By the time you hear this, we will have gone. The gliding is a journey that must begin alone. There's a certain nuance lost in transmission, and for that I am grateful. It would be far too much to hear the cracks in her voice, and not run weepily into her arms to stay forever. But I'm ready, and so I close my eyes and listen. But though you go by yourself, you are not without friends. You are not without family. You are not without love. These things you will always carry with you as you do your mask. And I know I'm not supposed to do this, but if I were you, I might go and see Utari. They are the mechanists at Burnt Oak Station, and among SZA's closest friends. Utari is a good contact to have on one's gliding, and a fine way to get another mechanist badge if you're so inclined. Only a suggestion though. As for us, I'll send another message once we've returned to the Ewer, so keep an eye on the post boxes and try not to forget us. She takes a long breath, and I forget that things as easy as breathing could ever exist. The world is waiting, Sable. Good luck. They didn't even wait for me, they just poofed and abandoned everything. Except for the bike, most likely. I hope. Wait, they left my bike here, didn't they? Where am I walking to? I hear a rumble. Well, hello there! Now, that feels even better than the crappy one we had earlier. Oh, nice. Whee! I think we're this. Looking where I'm going is important though, even if it goes way smoother. And that's where we leave our home. And that's the tutorial then. This flies so much better than the other one. Let's see what this tower has, shall we? And seriously, this song is good. Fits the game really well. Just a chum egg, nothing else. Oh well. No clue what to do with those just yet, but I guess they'll be useful at some point. Geronimo! We don't have full damage anyway, so... And just as well jump off, right? Okay, so the game is telling us to go to Burnt Oak Outposts, which is in this general direction. There's something up here. Oh, and there's another chum egg up here as well. See if I can climb all the way up here. I'm afraid I might not be able to. Nope, I can't. And this also is too high. Anything lower? Anywhere? Oh! May not be, but... What? Wow. This is gorgeous. Just randomly a tower in here. Which also has a chum egg. I like the noises those make. So cute. Not gonna be able to climb onto that one. Or on there. Whoa, there's a lot of them here. Hi. That's another eggo. I want to get to the top of that tower, but I can't climb that. So maybe on the outside? Taking us out again? But higher up? There is indeed a reason to go up in that tower. Colors of the Sandy bike. Wait, what is it? What is that? Guess that's color scheme for my bike. Interesting. No! Crap. I have to walk up again. Because I did and I fell. On that side is my home bike, so that is where the other chum egg is. Nice. No clue what these are for, but something tells me they're good to grab. There's another Chamag over there. There's lots of wind here. And I see one of the balloons there, so I'm guessing that's where I can get a new map. So I'll be going there after I got this Chamag here. That's 7 Chamags found so far. And the game wants me to go that way anyways. And just because apparently there's no fall damage. And apparently there's bug catching in this game. What? Because he's too close, it's not gonna come to me? Well, that sucks. Hi, animal corpses. Not sure if that bodes well for me if there's, you know, corpses laying about. It's gonna take a while for me to not forget that I actually can sprint. There he is. My bike that's called Simoon. Looks kind of wonky if you ask me. We're going that way. Although, no, I first want to go to the balloon, because if that's a map that I can get there, then that's definitely something I want to have. Yeah. It is a bit wobbly, this thing, isn't it? Okay, so balloon is all the way up there. Seriously. Yes, new bike does look a lot smoother. And hi, Fed! Happy birthday! Again. Can say it for another 2 hours. If anybody else is in the chat, make sure to wish Cloak and Dagger Gaming a happy birthday. As it is his birthday today. You got lots of birthday wishes already. Loved how Tink did hers in Dutch, by the way. I need to get to that balloon. Ah, nice. Yeah, I figured they would. They usually tend to do that. And also, it's a lot smoother because of this thing as well. It really made a difference switching to the controller from mouse and keyboard. I started completely over again, so don't know if you're only just tuning in now. You haven't missed all that much, except for me figuring out how to freaking get the beetles. Come on, please, please, please. Tell me I've got enough stamina to get up. Oof, that was a close one. There's a cartographer. Hiya, dude. Give me map. Greet the cartographer shyly, a little cowed by how alone we're up here, and how intimate it sometimes feels despite it being so much a part of my gliding. She responds with what sounds like a warm smile. Hello there, glider. Thanks for taking the time to climb all the way up here. Surveying gets a little lonely sometimes, you know. I tell her I do, given how lonely I can get on the sand sometimes. I hope Simoon doesn't hear me. Simoon is my bike. It's got a name. So then, what is it you need? Can I buy a map? What's this? I guess I'm gonna get both of them. A badge traded by cartographers. It's often quite a journey to get to them, but the views are incredible, and they're always worth speaking to about the local area. The reason I'm getting it as well is because it seems to suggest that for 3 badges, you get a mask that is linked to that profession. And I can get as many as I want, and then towards the end of the game, I'm guessing, or towards the end of the gliding, Sable is going to have to make a choice which one of the masks she's going to be wearing for the rest of her life. I wanted to ask you stuff. What's worth a look nearby? She chuckles. Of course, you don't think I'm standing up here for nothing, do you? Have you been to the Great Wind Tower yet? Get up there and you can see for ages. And Burnt Oak Station is close by as well. You'll never guess why it's called that. Think about it, but she goes on before I can shout my prediction. And if you're a fan of insects, there's a gigantic Hercules beetle nest nearby. You know, rumor has it they can lift 100 times their own body weight. Can I help you, glider? What other regions are nearby? Glad you asked. Head south if you wish to see the white sands of the Wash. West you'll find Red Sea and its myriad secrets, and to the east are the salt plains of the Waste. Ooh, salt plains. Nice. Thank you! But to be fair, the views from here are indeed gorgeous. So where's Bike? Bike is over there. So Geronimo! That falling is just kind of hilarious. Ow, my back is being annoying. Why? Let's go to Burnt Oak first. And I'm pretty sure it's called Burnt Oak because there's an oak next to it that's burnt. Sorry, Simoon. I want to check this place out. It's funny to know my bike has a name. This looks like a scrapyard of some sorts. The bed. Hello. There's a challenge not to view scrappers through quite a romantic lens. As I looked toward my gliding as a child, I pictured myself as a dust-covered traveler, exploring strange forbidden places and finding strange forgotten things. Treasure hunter of old and arcane objects. Though I'm certain the grind of sifting through sand and dirt for useful tools and things left over can wear anyone down, I cannot help but weave some thread of my fantasy into the reality of the work. Greetings, Glider. Name's Alton. I give a bow and introduce myself as Sable. You found much scrap metal out there, Sable? It's been known to happen. Good. He leans back and looks up at the ceiling thoughtfully. Got a task for you then, if you're up for it. The hesitation in my voice is a product of a gentle intimidation, but I stand up straight and casual enough to seem like I'm up for anything. Alton seems to believe it enough. I need scrap, Sable, and lots of it. And you out there already, doing basically nothing. Alton chuckles to himself. I shouldn't say it like that. Gliding's odd, eh? You have nothing to do, so you have everything to do. Wonder if anyone's ever spent their gliding just lying around. Don't know if that counts as a gliding. I say with a smirk that I don't imagine that would count as a gliding, but at the same time I wonder if some people do go out and use the time to simply be with themselves in a safe and reflective space. Would it matter as much what mask we chose if we found our purpose deep within? I don't know, should I be doing that? Alton clears his throat, and I'm grateful to be shaken free. Anywho, the tasks. Let's see if you can understand this one, yeah? It's a bit complex. I tell him I'm ready. Go out, find scrap, bring it to me. What sort of scrap? All of it. Big scrap, little scrap, medium-sized scrap. If it's made of metal and it's too busted up for anything else, I want it. Think you can handle that? I tell him I'm happy for any reason to explore and that I'll return with everything I find. I say goodbye to Alton. So I have a quest to go find scrap. Whee! Hey, you person, where are you running after? Bonk. They didn't even give a fuck. This looks like a parking spot for gliders. Oh, bikes. See if I can park this thing. Nope. I suck at parking with this thing. Good enough. Narrow stalk fig, undoubtedly my favorite fruit. The first thing I would ask for when we pass traveling merchants with the Ubexi. More people. Machinist looks me over. Oh, I think we found the person we needed. You're late! For what? For our meeting one another. You ought to have come here sooner. I asked the Machinist how they know me. I don't know you. Not yet. Perplexed, I wait for them to explain themselves, but they seem to wait for the same. Briefly, I feel a hint of shame as I remember times I've been late among the Ubexi. Things I've slipped up in doing. But I dismiss my doubts as I recall that I have no idea who this strange Machinist is. I ask them. My name is Atari. Of immediate relevance to you is that I'm a friend of Sizzo. I asked then if Sizzo alerted them to my impending arrival. Perhaps she looks out for me and sets waypoints in oasis along my gliding. A comforting thought. No. What's your hoverbike? I heard it for the first time months ago and felt the shape of its voice, of her voice, sorry. I tell Atari that it was not Simoon they heard. For Sizzo and I only built her a few days hence. They waved their hands at me in a hurried dismissal. Did Sizzo teach you so little? The voices of our machines are eternal. More ancient even than their forms. I hear them, as always have. And yours I thought would revisit me sooner. But here we are. Now let us speak of why you have come. Our needs could converge atop the wind tower. Tell me more. Something has stopped the tower working. I was hours away from going to see it for myself, but you and Simoon came after all. Go there, mend what is broken or soothe what is hurt. And I will give you what you seek. I ask Atari if they know what I seek. I omit that I might not. A direction. I will be waiting for you. Travel swiftly and safely. I say goodbye to Atari. But can I? No, I can't. I did see an option to customize my bike here as well. So that tells me that I can at some point change the way my bike looks as well. Nice. Oh, that's a big beetle. Hiya, mister. You've got a big beetle. Nomadic merchant Bobby. Glider, welcome. Come view my wares. That's a big beetle. He is a big boy. Fred. Don't let his size fool you though. He's a soppy fella. Loves to snuggle. Won't help you much if a worm attacks, but he can pull anything through a sand drift without any struggle. See you soon. What do you sell? Smashing. Have a gander at my goods. Beetle bike booster. Beetle bike front and beetle bike wings. Or scrapper bike wings, front and engine. This toad sells bike parts. The guard before me stands tall, her posture shaped by duty uniform weathered by years. Hello there, young glider. I'm nearly startled by the force of her greeting, but her voice is comforting somehow, warm and welcoming. I greet her with the accidental enthusiasm of a traveler finding a friend. She smiles behind the mask, I think. Always nice to meet a fellow adventurer, especially now. How are you faring so far? I need sleep as an option. The world is big and I feel very small. You say that like it's a bad thing. Isn't it a wonder, the size of it all? That you can spend your whole life wondering and still find more to see? I think about the balled up fabric and smoothed out rock that will make my next pillow, and many to come. My neck aches faintly at the thought of how many nights I spent this way. It is possible I am romanticizing it a little. You see, I'm getting ready to leave on my second gliding. She reads the confusion in my silence. Did no one tell me of the second gliding? Suppose it isn't a real second gliding, but it's how I'm thinking about it. A chance to see the world again and how it's changed. I'm an Ekrin guard, you see, or, well, I was an Ekrin guard. As of 3 days ago, I'm officially retired. You should have seen the way the others looked at me. There's a laugh in her voice. All of them were so baffled to see me go, telling me how much I'd missed the big city. A few of them even felt sorry for me, like, what would I do now that my life's purpose is complete? Can you imagine? I try to, but I can barely muster a view of my purpose's start, let alone its end. I shake my head. I said thank you all for the strange condolences, but tomorrow marks the first time in decades that I'll wake up in the morning and have absolutely no idea what lies ahead. And I've never been more excited. Don't get me wrong, I've loved my work. I even loved the noise and the trouble of Acria. But I've spent enough of my life standing around looking hard. It's time to explore. Her glee is infectious. I asked where she'd like to go. I'm heading to the Badlands, I think. I want to see the Bridge of the Betrayed. If you haven't already, you should definitely go and see it yourself. You'll want the Northern Badlands, southwest of here. I nod, trying to keep the directions in mind, and Elizabeth gives me a little tap. Maybe I'll see you up there. There's beds over here. Can I sleep in these beds? Nope, I cannot. Wait, I can interact with this thing, whatever that is. Or no, oh no, that was my stamina bar that was popping up for some reason. So I forgot to check with this guy. Because where can I get a merchant's badge? Merchants aren't liable to just give out badges freely. Your best bet here is to head to Acria. There's a big market in town there, worth trying to Iria's attention. If you want to get yourself some merchant's badges. Be careful how you do it, mind. She's not the friendliest customer. See you soon. Do you have message? Logging in. Hello, Sable. Unread messages, 0. No. New messages. No, stop trying to climb up there. Oh, I can't grab the bucket. Okay, so... I have more mask as part of my gliding. Any scrap metal? Let's go for that one, as that seems to be main quest-ish. Let's grab our hover bike. I guess that's the beetle one. That's the scrapper, maybe? I wonder if I'm going to be able to combine pieces of one with pieces of another, or if it always has to be like the same 3 pieces. That hasn't been very clear. But yeah, each piece was 150 of those coins, and I don't really have many of those. And I haven't really found any other way to get them than to find chests. And why do they need a wind tower here, as if there isn't enough wind? Or is it like a windmill and it provides electricity? I mean, I guess that's a possibility. Whee! I do kind of hope at some point that I'm getting a faster glider, because it's a bit slow. I mean, it's faster than walking or running, and, well, running isn't even something you can hold up for a long time. But still. I have a feeling, yep, this is where I need to be. Okay, let's go up, I guess. Some funky ass trees, by the way. I guess we're going over there. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Looking for a way up. I guess I found it. So we are supposed to clear the turbine because something is blocking it. No clue how we're gonna do that. There's a little campfire going. Oh, well, hello there. You're a funny statue. There's some really funky statues in here. No! Don't you dare do that again to me. Oh. Looks like a little house. Oh, coins. Alright. And we found the no. You not do that. Thank you. I guess we're continuing upwards. There's a door here that's not open. We have some kind of pressure plate anywhere nearby that might open it. No. Out the window. Wait for a stamina. Up, up. Or is it back into where we were? No, it's... out of this window. Go. Yeah, we can go all the way up. That's where we need to go. No! It's not too horrible. Oh. There we go. Anything in there? Nope. Okay. Just climb up against the wall for a little bit. Feeling I took the difficult way to get up here. Not necessarily. Okay. Up. I guess. Plans tell me that that's where I need to go up. Oh. Yeah. It almost looked like it was gonna fall over. There we go, wind turbine is working, and that opens the door down there. Ooh. I need to find my way back to that door now. Oh, there's a treasure over there as well. I missed some treasures in here. Bouldering top. Though they won't help me climb further, the hand wraps and lightweight fit of this gear are great for making scaling mountainous heights more comfortable. Nope. I'm doing a dumb, aren't I? I think I did a dumb. Oh! Well, not entirely a waste. Chum eggs seem to be something good to collect, so... it's another one of them. Oh, this actually was helping me to get... and a Machinist top, a standard uniform worn by machinists in Midden. Machinists will always make sure each set has its own unique modifications for their own particular needs. Another treasure chest. Some more coins. I'm wondering if the bell that I keep hearing means something or if it's just... just a bell. As in, the bell comes from the turbine. I think it may actually just be from the turbine. Okay, let's go back to my bike then. I can find my way back to it. I think I can just drop myself down this side of the mountain. I mean, fall damage is not really a thing anyway, so... and I can save myself as well when I do jump down like that. Alright! Oh, no, we're not leaving yet. I just saw another Shamag well, worm critter, that is gonna give me a chum egg. Over up there. Here it is. Game, can you... There we go. That was weird. There we go. Alright, now we can go. Back to Atari. Kind of weird that it's so wobbly, so bouncy, this bike. It's interesting to see on the tower. I can actually still see the chum egg that I grabbed there. The little challenge thing that it's in is still up there. Nice trick, so you can actually see, okay, I've already been there. Here it is. Wobble, wobble, wobble. You stop wobbling so much. There you go. Ow. Atari. What's over here? Atari greets me warmly. How may I help? Atari's delight is obvious, and I see it even in my approach. They radiate with energy. You did it! Thank you and well done. Both of you. Did you have much trouble? Nah. Of course not, and why would you? You were meant to do it. Now for your, I won't say reward. Now for what you're owed. He produces a Machinist badge, holding it out for me to take. You may have been late in coming, but here you are, where you are meant to be. I give you this badge not only in recognition of where you have been and what you've done, but in honor of one of many possibilities. That you may, if you so choose, become one of us, who speak the unheard language of Simoon and their vast connections. This badge is but one, and you will need to earn more from others who carry them. But if and when you do, the caster will know that you've chosen and you may wear the mask of the Mechanists. I thank Othari for it and tell them I have much to consider. But for just a moment I hear the faintest ringing in my left ear, distant and deep, like a river below the sands. Listen. Yeah. I can actually color them now. And that makes them all sandy colored. So if I buy pieces there, I can actually customize just like one piece or the other piece. So I don't have to have all three pieces of a set to actually... Nice. Ooh, I'm sorry. Ugh. So I have these three quests, one of which is basically the overall quest for the whole game. Elizabeth gave me a quest here. Ooh. Who are you? Can't interact with you. No. Or with the kid. I just want to check around here if there's something else I can talk to or maybe get a quest for before continuing. Though I also feel that this is actually a nice place to stop with the stream. As we just finished another milestone of the main story. And those tend to be nice spots to call it quits. Can't talk to you? Nope, can't talk to you either. And I'm also a bit tired, as yeah, today was the first time since a long time that I had to get up quite early again. So I think we are gonna call it quits at this point for today. I have a feeling my cloak is blowing through me, isn't it? Yeah, the cloak is supposed to be behind me. Okay, let's turn around. There we go. That's more logical. But yeah, I'm gonna call it quits here for today. It's a bit shorter than usual, but I am kind of sleepy as well. I think this is a good point in the quest line as well to stop. Gives me some time as well to figure out where to go next for next time. Sable I will be returning to next week, if all goes well. For this Thursday, I am gonna be streaming Astrea again. That game has been out almost 2 weeks now, and I love it. So happy for the guys that on Steam as well. They're at like 95% positive, 95% positive reviews out of more than 1,000, which for an indie game which had very little marketing is quite big. I'm very, very happy for the guys that they got that much press somehow anyways, and that people are loving it. I will be messing about with some channel point rewards for that game, because I know you guys like to mess with me. I know Fed, for instance, loves to see me fail. So I'm gonna give him a chance to work that in hand a little bit. Seeing Astrea at certain points throughout a run has you pick dice. There is safe, balance, and risky dice. So I am going to give you guys a channel point reward where you can force me to pick either safe, balance, or risky. Knowing some of you guys, you will always force me to go for riskies, of course. Also, some points you have to choose between a normal or a hard fight, so you guys may be able to force me towards a harder one. Those kind of things. I'm still thinking of a couple of ideas like that to make it a bit more interactive, more fun for you guys as well, but also more difficult on myself. Not that that's necessarily needed, but I think it could be a nice way to interact with you guys by doing that. So you guys can look forward to that for this Thursday at 8 p.m. CEST as usual. And then Sable will return next week. Closer to Halloween, I'll be looking into playing some of the more spoopy games that I've got in my library. If there's any that you think I might enjoy, feel free to let me know and I'll see if I have them. Because it is a bit dependent on what I've got. But yeah, you can look forward to that as well. With that being said, I am gonna call it a night for today. I'm gonna leave you guys alone. No longer have to listen to me babbling on and stuff, because I know I'm good at that. So, take good care of yourselves out there, stay safe, and hopefully see you guys next time. Bye bye!